DNVR Broncos live coming to you from Studio C. And today the C stands for cabin. Up at the family's cabin in the mountains, high in the Rocky Mountains. Beautiful weekend up here. It's Allie's birthday on Monday, so I figured...
Hey, happy birthday. Happy early birthday, Allie.
Yeah, there you go. Happy early birthday to Allie. Spend a weekend up here with some friends. Then celebrate Allie's birthday. Should be a fun one.
Man, that sounds like a blast. And being up in the mountains, Ryan, what are we looking at right now? Little snow on the ground, all the snow gone?
Bro, it's 75 degrees up here.
Oh my gosh. That may be hotter than here.
I was going to say, I think it's like a couple degrees warmer than Denver right now. So I don't know. It might go hit the lake. I don't know, soak in some sun rays on the porch. Anything's on the table. Tomorrow we're going golfing.
Wow, that sounds like a perfect weekend to kick off your June.
Exactly. Real quick here, Alexander in the comments here says, RK, how was Zach Bryan the other day? He was awesome. He actually opened up. He was, I guess, 2 openers deep for Luke Combs. And he was great. I actually didn't know him too much. We went with Spencer and Kylie was like a big fan already, and she had kind of shown me some songs. I'm like, this guy's really good. Ever since the concert, I've been jamming on it.
Man, I heard that concert was great, and it was packed, even though it was the opposite of the weather that you have now.
Yeah, I'm just glad Alexander asked me something about the beginning of the concert, because that's the part that I remember.
And now, were you able to watch the Avs game on your phone?
Every second. I didn't miss a single second of the Avs game. I couldn't. I legitimately couldn't. Like, I wouldn't have been enjoying myself if I couldn't see what was going on in the Avs game. And I think I mentioned this before, but
you go.
Everyone around me was also doing the same thing. Like, literally, the guy sitting right next to me when I got to my seat already had it up. I was like, this is it. This is my guy.
That's amazing. I was just worried about, when you get so many people in one space, sometimes that cell phone service doesn't work.
Yeah, shout out to Empower Field. They, fire or not, they've still got high-speed Wi-Fi out there. And by the way, did we ever talk about the fact that they just put people in the stands right around the fire?
Like where the seats had melted, people are just sitting there?
No, not there. They blocked off like 2 rows with or maybe like five rows, I'll say, with like a tarp. But in front of it, behind it, people were sitting there. So don't sell me on this is unsafe. We have to, do this. Who knows if it'll be ready for week 1? No. They're fine. And they clearly did not care at all.
Yeah, we were told that the Broncos are going to be out without hundreds of seats. And that's when we were like, okay, this might be an issue. If it's 2 rows, that's nothing at all. So, I mean, that's I thought the whole structural I thought there was, so much damage to steel beams because the fire melted them. I guess not.
It's definitely a section, not just 2 rows. It's like one little
fuzzy memory. Here, let me look.
With the suite
Allie
and like
coming
a little
in with
section.
the good memory.
I have the picture right here. Why don't I just send it to Allie real quick? And she can bring it up, but while we wait for that,
this is good news.
I'm going to send it to don't do that,
Ryan. We have a "Don't do that, Ryan" from Ryan.
Well, I just airdropped it to Allie's computer. I'm on Allie's computer. There, let's just do this.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see the emptiness. Man,
calm down,
that's
Ryan. I got it. Just be patient.
You got it? How'd you do that?
She knows what she's doing, Ryan.
She does. It's I would say 5 to 10 rows over the course of 2 sections. So I guess that's upwards of and then 2 suites.
My when I was thinking of this though, I was expecting like an entire area of the stadium. Okay, here we go. Okay. And what does it say? What tarp did they put over it?
Welcome bootleggers. That's the name of Luke Combs' fan base.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty cool. So are we gonna get a Let's Ride Broncos country on there come week 1?
I just feel like they can just put new seats in and it'll be fine.
That's what it seems like. See, I thought a whole stretch was going to be off limits.
I truly thought they were going to have to like take out the entire thing, like a whole section, rebuild it. There's going to be like not only that, but thousands of seats around it impacted. Nope. They just took all the people whose tickets were bought there, I'm sure, and threw them down on the floor, gave them a seat upgrade, and no one complained, and it was all good. Now, of course, you can't put people on the field for the game, although that would be potentially entertaining. I mean, they'll figure out a place to put those people.
So did Rob Walton's conspiracy plan of burning down the stadium so that he can have taxpayers build a new one not work?
Yeah, that couple who was on the tour that pointed out the fire ruined everything.
They saved the stadium and ruined the plans of a $70 billion man.
Yep, exactly. Although, where was he going to have them play at like Folsom Field for a couple of years after the stadium burned down?
Boy, that's where you'd want him, wouldn't it?
That would have been so electric. Although,
Man, where
Folsom Field is too sacred for NFL football.
So put him up at CSU, since there's nothing sacred about that in your eyes.
I mean, it's brand new. It can't really be sacred.
What would the Broncos' backup plan be? Would it be Dick's?
Oh, that's probably right. But that's 20,000, right?
Yeah, it's really small. And Folsom's what, 50?
50. Yeah, Folsom's the biggest.
Yeah, because CSU Stadium, I think, is like 35 right now. Mm-hmm. So Folsom 50, and off the top of my head, there's no other stadiums like that.
Well, Air Force, but that's smaller.
Okay. Yeah.
And we already know they can't handle big events. Sorry, Air Force.
Way. They cannot. One way in, one way out.
Yeah, that's not going to happen again. Folsom would honestly, I mean, I guess it hosts sellouts all the time. So,
and it's honestly it's closer than CSU by about an hour, and Dick's it's not too much farther than Dick's.
There have been football games in baseball stadiums. So Jason here says they could convert cores. That's 48,000, I believe. So that's probably the best in terms of convenience.
Yeah, and just right downtown, man. That would be fun getting Lodo a game there. Oh baby. Maybe that's what needs to happen in order for the Broncos to not move outside of downtown, is for the new owner to see what a football game would be like in the middle of downtown.
That would be so electric. I'm so in on that. Yeah, and of course they did the outdoor game there before they outsmarted themselves and took it to Air Force. And like, no hate on it's a beautiful stadium, a beautiful setting. It just wasn't prepared for that.
No.
Anyways, that would be interesting. But the fire, it was all a much ado about nothing.
Pretty much the people that got the most out of it was the Chargers schedule release video, since they included that in there.
Right, exactly. I still couldn't believe. I looked over. I was like in the stadium for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, wait. And I looked over there. I was like, there's nothing. It's fine.
I bet. Who was it? Luke Cohen.
Luke Combs.
Luke Combs. I bet he didn't even notice that. He probably just thought that was a nice little sign for him.
Yep, exactly. Like a tifo, like they do in soccer.
A tifo.
Oh, you're not familiar?
No.
Essentially, like soccer fans band together and make these giants, like they're essentially flags, but signs. And then, like at the beginning of the game or right before the game, all the fans like roll it out over them and hold it up and shake it.
Oh, of course. What? I had no idea they were called tifos. Does that stand for something?
It probably does. Yeah.
Okay, you shame me for not knowing what they are. I gotta shame you for not knowing what it stands for.
I mean, it's probably another language. I don't know.
I thought you were multilingual.
It's a totally informative, functional operation.
Wow, there we go. All right.
Anyways,
what are we talking about?
We're about to get into the real hardcore stuff here. So, as you guys remember, there is a reality show taking place at Denver Broncos headquarters and around the Denver Broncos world. It's known by two names, depending on who you ask. Receive My Love or
Catch My Heart.
Catch My Heart. Now, of course, this reality show that is sweeping the nation is the competition between Denver Broncos wide receivers for the attention, admiration, and adoration of Russell Wilson. And let me tell you, folks, the season is heating up. Last night, for the second time in the season, Jerry Jeudy got himself a one-on-one with Russell Wilson. Now, tell me if you agree or disagree here. Was this a true one-on-one? Because it wasn't just Russ and Jerry go to the Avs game. It was Russ, it was Jerry, it was Sierra, it was CeCe, it was Future. And there's one other person on the Broncos who was there that I could see is Draymond Jones. So does this count as a one-on-one, Zach? As he was the only wide receiver there by my very scientific exploration of Sierra's Instagram story.
So I also saw Josh Johnson there, and I saw Greg Dulcich there, who kind of fits into this, but not fully. But it wasn't. In the box? Yes, in the box with him. I believe Dalton Reisner was also at the game, but not with them. But he was the only true receiver there. And so, Ryan, of course, this reminds me of The Bachelor. And in The Bachelor, sometimes there's group dates that then at the end of it, the winner of the group date gets that one-on-one. And this is what this was, except a little more exclusive. It was a group date, not everyone. So not everyone was there, i.e. Tim Patrick, Cortland Sutton weren't there.
Says a whole Canadian city was in the box.
Wow. How about that? Oh, okay. Now he's saying it was Montreal, Washington, which is a state. So lot going on in that box. And then at the end, Ryan, Jerry Jeudy got the one-on-one because he, as you said, was featured with just Future. It seemed like those two guys were really getting along. And man, anytime you bond with the child, man, you're gaining a lot of steam.
Yeah, I mean, I just think of it like my older sister's, boyfriends. Like when they came over to the house, they made a point, like, oh, I got to get in with Ryan. If he likes me, it'll make my life a whole lot easier. So they're like, down there playing video games with me and stuff.
Now, how did you react? Were you hard on him?
Nope. I was pretty easy on all of them. Except for this one guy who's a real asshole. But that's a story for another day. Anyways, if I could ask Future anything, it would be, who's your favorite of the wide receivers?
And he'd probably say right now Jerry, because he spent probably the most time with him.
Yeah, it looked like they were having a blast. It kind of looked like Jerry was maybe borrowing Future's second Avs sweater. It's very small on him. I was so confused by this. Like, how do you think Jerry Jeudy ended up in such a small jersey?
I think you're probably right. Exactly how it happened. He was borrowing Futures, or he was borrowing. Well, we know Russ doesn't wear jerseys because he only wears his Goodman brand, the Russell Wilson brand.
Can't believe he wears his own brand so much.
Shake my head. Who would do that? But so maybe Russ just had an extra one, and Russ was a bit shorter than Jerry, so maybe that's how.
I think that maybe like Avs representatives came up there with just like a box of gear and was like, does anyone want any of this? Like just praying that Sierra would put some on. She didn't. And
she had to wear a swimsuit.
Oh, no, she was just rocking.
Swimsuit cover.
She was just swagging it out. I don't know. She looked great.
What was she wearing? I didn't see a picture of her.
Just a fit. She just got a fit off.
Okay.
I don't know how else to put it. But yeah, and Jerry was just like, oh, I'll take this one. And he put it on, and it was like the Jokic picture where his sleeves are halfway up his arm. He's like, yeah, that's good enough for me.
Did you see Hackett rocking the Makar jersey?
Yes, and then I saw D-Mac make like a deep inside joke that I feel like me and maybe a few other people got, which was like,
what was it? Let's see. Will I get it?
He said, do you think he knows he's wearing a Makar jersey?
Oh, is that in reference to didn't Vic wear a jersey and didn't know who it was and like didn't know anything about the player or the jersey or really even the team?
Yes. I think it was D-Mac who asked him, oh, is Landeskog your favorite player? And he was like, yeah, I don't know. They just gave it to me.
That is brutal. I do think that, and man, Hackett was going nuts in the stadium, firing the crowd up, and just with his passion, I think he probably knows who Makar is. And my guess is if DMAC were to ask Hackett about why he chose a Makar jersey, he'd have a good answer.
Whether he knows it or not, he's coming in prepared for that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun. But I guess let's try and make something out of nothing here. It's the off season. Is there anything to read into Jerry Jeudy like legitimately bonding with Russ and his family?
Absolutely. I think so. And sure, a little bit of on-field stuff can come from this. And of course, this is the second one-on-one because the first one-on-one that happened was when Jerry had a child. So he missed Russ's first gathering down in San Diego. So then a couple days later, it was just him and Russ down in San Diego having their one-on-one time. And that was good on-field bonding. But Ryan, especially with what's happened with Jerry Jeudy over this past month and just some issues off the field and just some things that don't look great over these past few years that he's been a Bronco, I think this is a great thing. And it is Jerry not just getting close with Russ, but I think you said it, getting close with the family, I think is really good. And I think it shows that Russ is really trying to take Jerry under his wings. Now, this could be the only time it happens, but I really hope to see more of this because, man, if Russ takes Jerry under his wing, that's going to help off the field, but also on the field.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's almost as simple as like Jerry had no plans and he wanted to hang out with Russ, like it's like, who knows with these guys, like, he has a newborn baby, like he could be in between practices, like jetting out of town or whatever. You just have no idea. Like the fact that Russ invited him and he said yes is like, that's a dub. It's small, but it's a dub. Also, I think it's good for Jerry Jeudy's approval rating. Like I tweeted out the picture of him in future and it did over 1,000 likes. Like Jerry Jeudy's people like him a little more right now than they did yesterday. So I think it's good. I think it's all good. I think it's interesting. Like where were the other guys? Again, it's basically the same metaphor I used about Melvin Gordon. If you're chasing a girl and you know that one of the other guys chasing her is going to a party and you can go to that party, you're going.
You got to be one of those annoying guys when someone else pulls the girl off to the side. You're going through the curtain and you're like, hey, it's kind of, do you mind if I butt in? Of course they freaking mind if you butt in. Don't ask, just go and butt in.
They always say yes, though.
Right,
like,
right.
Hey, come on in. I'm like, what? I
feel like
my
girl.
I think there must be like a rule that the producers tell them, like if someone comes in, you have to let them go.
Right. Yeah.
This is a fun little super chat that we can hit right away from Jason, who says, who's the closest to Cale Makar on the Broncos? Simmons, Surtain, Javonte, someone else. Wilson doesn't count. Well,
to me in this one, Ryan, I was going to say I wouldn't have even thought about Wilson for this because Wilson is McKinnon. And so for me, I think you nailed it with the guys, but to me, it's obviously one, and that is Patrick Surtain. Oh. And because I think when we talk about Nathan McKinnon, with Cale Makar, he's one of the absolute best in the NHL at what he does. And that's what I'm thinking Patrick Surtain is. And not just one of the best, he's like one of the best on his side of the puck, defense. He's the best, if not one of the best. And that's the thing with Surtain. He's going to be one of the best, if not the best defender in the entire NFL in a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, Cale Makar went literally head to head with the guy who everyone said might also be the best, and no one even remembers a single thing the other dude did in that series.
Haven't noticed.
He's the best. I would say it's between Surtain and Simmons. The only reason I would make maybe a case for Simmons is because Cale is so long, just like Justin, in the way that he's like rangy and smooth. And I think safety is a closer position to like a hockey defender than corner. Like you're not, I guess at some points you're like following the same guy around, but it's mostly like you're standing back there trying to prevent anything from getting behind you. You're the last line. So it's definitely one of those two guys. I don't think there's Nathan McKinnon to me is like more like Jonathan Taylor or something. Like,
Right.
he's
Derrick
a running
Henry.
back. He's a running back.
Right.
And so I don't know how to like Russell Wilson. I don't really think has a comp.
No, because I mean, you think of Landeskog being the captain and the leader of the team, but it's tough because quarterback, there's just nothing like it in hockey.
Yeah. I mean, they do call like Cale Makar the quarterback of the power play.
Yeah.
He's at the point there. So I don't know. Yeah, I think we nailed the comp. Okay. So yeah, to tie a bow on this, I think it's really important for Jerry to endear himself to Russell Wilson. So, reality show aside, I think that the fact that he is going out of his way, like legitimately taking time to go spend time with Russ and his family, that's worth something.
Yeah, and again, just having a positive role model, because what are things said about Russell Wilson? Sure, some people say he's corny, but he's just a really good dude as well. On the field, off the field, he may be a little cheesy, but it's all coming from a really good place. And so the more influence that any of these guys have around Russ is going to be good, but especially a guy that's got in a little trouble, although the charges were dropped, it's still not a situation you want to be in. And Ryan, I think it's a really good point that his perspective and how people view him is going to be more positive the more he spends around Russ.
Totally. I mean, people notice this stuff. Like everyone's paying attention. I'm sure it's like this in a lot of NFL cities, but Denver especially. Like everyone notices every little thing, every tweet you send, every like you have on Twitter, whatever you're doing on Instagram. Like everyone notices this stuff and makes a deal out of it, whether it's good or bad. This one happened to be good. Keep stacking those up, Jerry, and you'll be happy with the way things turn out for you.
Yeah.
Jason here says still riding high on the Avs, and I couldn't agree more. The bar last night was so great. Like the vibe was just chef's kiss, just perfect. We had so much fun at the bar. It was packed. There's certain things that happen in sports that create extra levels of loud, and a barrage of goals in hockey, which is really rare. Just like somehow each one gets a little bit louder. And like the third goal with Mikko going top shelf was just like insane. Like everyone, and that at that point you kind of know you're going to win the game. So it's just like from 0 to 1,000 by that goal. And I want people to experience this so bad. So come down, hang out at the DNVR bar, get your member-sized beer, get some of our great food, enjoy this cup run, make some friends. Like there's such familiar faces that are there for every game. So come hang out with us.
In money while you watch the over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Ryan, man, I'm not sure if this is going to change in the next couple of hours, but this morning, DraftKings had the Avs puck line, so they have to win by 2 or more goals at plus 200 tomorrow. Oh, man, that is juicy, especially because they've won both games by over 2 goals so far. And man, it just seems like the Oilers are losing it. I know they're going into Edmonton, but that is so juicy, the value over there. And Ryan, you can even bet with free money on that game tomorrow night. If you place a $5 bet on any NBA Finals game, you'll get $150 free dollars in your account by placing a $5 bet. You don't even have to win the bet. Just place a money line bet of $5 and they'll give you $150 free dollars in your account right then. So you got to get in on the finals action. You got to get in on the Avs playoff run. And Ryan, I got in last night. Warriors plus 150. Now it's up to 160 to win the series. Last night, they played a bad game outside of Steph having one great first quarter. The Warriors are going to win this series. And so I like that as well. So check them out over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get this offer. And also offer sign-up bonus up to $1,000 over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit applies. DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
All right. And finally, shout out to Breckenridge Brewery, which, of course, is the official beer of DNVR. For me, the Good Company Hard Seltzer is the official drink of the playoffs. Like last night, I was just taking it easy, but I still had one per period. Like just a good one per period type of drink. You just sip on it. It's delicious. And it's always a great time. So whether it's Strawberry Sky, Good Company, Breck Lager, if you want to go vanilla porter, whatever it may be. There's something amazing. I mean, nothing better than Avalanche Amber Ale for the Avs. And Breck Brew is giving out tickets to every single home game during this playoff run for fans. All you got to do is go to breckbrew.com and check out how they're giving back. You can nominate people to get those tickets. They want to give them to great fans. So check out breckbrew.com and get you some Breck Brews.
So, Ryan, earlier today, we talked to Jonas Griffith and Josey Jewell. Are those going to be the Broncos starting inside linebackers?
Sure feels like it, at least for as of right now, unless something changes with Baron Browning during training camp.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It's crazy how, man, Baron Browning, if he's an inside linebacker, he's the starting inside linebacker. In my mind, even above Josey Jewell. Now, they may have Jewell. He wouldn't be replacing him because he'd be next to Josey Jewell. Instead, he's their 4th to 6th outside linebacker. Really bizarre. And we've talked about that. Continue to talk about that. But we're focusing on inside linebacker today, Ryan. I agree with you. I think that Jonas Griffith is going to be that guy. This is a small step in having him talk to the media alongside Josey Jewell, and the organization showing a lot of faith and confidence in him. And he said a couple of interesting things today, Ryan. He said at the end of last year, he expected the Broncos to add an inside linebacker this offseason, whether it was a draft, whether it was free agency. He expected the Broncos to keep Kenny Young, Alexander Johnson. Now, of course, they did keep Josey Jewell, but when he was talking about it, he was thinking the guys that play his position. He was thinking the Broncos were going to keep some of those guys, and then he was going to compete for, a role on the team. They didn't keep any of those guys. They didn't bring someone in free agency outside of Alex Singleton for $1 million a year. They didn't draft an inside linebacker high in the draft this year. It's Jonas Griffith's job to lose right now.
Yeah, which is, I don't necessarily like hearing that. That he was like surprised by their confidence in him, Like, I guess it makes sense when you've scratched and clawed for every single opportunity you've gotten in the NFL to just be wired in a way that says, I'm going to have to continue scratching and clawing for everything I get. So let's not say it's being handed to him, but it's very close to being handed to him. At least the Broncos are saying, we want you to win this job, so please go win it.
That's exactly right.
So it's, I guess, it's understandable, but I wish he would be like, man, I felt like I played so well last season, and I really felt like I earned the opportunity to continue playing, and I'm happy that the organization saw things the same way. Like, I would like to see that confidence, but it's a moot point essentially. I do think it just boils down to him being like, I assume I'm gonna have to fight for a roster spot again. Like, here we go.
Well, you will like something that he said though, Ryan. He did come out and say, I prepare to be a starter and I expect to do that. So he did have confidence viewing himself at the present and where he is right now moving forward. And he should feel that way because not only did the Broncos not add anyone, but these 2 OTAs that we've been able to watch, Ryan, when it's a base defense, and they've been starting out in base defense, by the way. And that's just because they're still installing the defense. I expect to see a lot more dime and nickel as we move forward. But as of right now, it's Josey Jewell and it's Jonas Griffith, number 50, right next to him. There's no question as of right now, he's the starter.
Yeah, and I remember when the Broncos acquired Jonas Griffith, and I was just looking at this guy, and I was like, wow, this is like a perfect Madden linebacker right here. Like, he's fast, he's strong, he's big. He like checked all the boxes. I think he ran like an amazing 40 coming out of college. And I was just like, well, I like it. Like, it's a low cost thing where you just go out there and try and get a guy with tools and count on your coaching staff to teach him to play. And maybe Vic Fangio played a little bit of role in helping him understand the position a little bit, and you can benefit from that. But it's just like, there's absolutely nothing from a physical standpoint that you could not like about Jonas Griffith. And if he puts it together and starts playing, like, he has all the tools to be a fantastic linebacker in the NFL. So it's kind of exciting. People always want the newest thing. And somehow, like, Jonas Griffith, I feel like has already become a little bit less exciting to people because he like had a moment in the sun already in his past, but he should excite people a lot. like legitimately excite people with the package of tools that he comes with. So I'm excited for Jonas Griffith, and I hope that he blossoms because, again, he's easily the most. I mean, depending on where you put Baron Browning, he's either easily the most gifted guy in that room or arguably the most gifted guy in that room. So I really hope it pans out for him.
Yeah, and if Baron Browning's not in the inside linebacker room, he is easily the most gifted guy. Ryan, he's 6'4", 250 pounds, bigger than Von Miller. He ran a 4.62 40-yard dash coming out of college. And maybe the most incredible thing
and real quick,
about Jonas...
Don't get skewed by 4.62 when you're that big.
Right. Exactly. No, I meant that in a compliment.
No, yeah,
He's a fast guy. He's 25 years old, still very raw, has really only been playing inside linebacker in the NFL and truly playing that for about half a year. Because remember, last year when the Broncos traded for him, they traded for him to be a special teamer. And that they thought he was going to be an all-star special teamer, and he was a good special teamer. And then the Broncos quickly saw Vic Fangio, which is important here, an inside linebacker guru, saw, wait, this kid understands this position in the meeting rooms, then went out on the field, gave him a shot. Wow, this kid's actually good on the field as well. And then he got a shot in the final month of the season, actually playing in games, and he was really good. And so you this quick rise, and you're thinking, okay, well, why did he go to Indiana State? Why is this a guy that, went undrafted and Broncos did a late pick for him in order to be a special teamer? One of the most incredible things about him, he was homeschooled until his senior year of high school. So he didn't play sports. His senior year of high school, he played football and got a couple of small offers, which, by the way, is just incredible. To play 1 year of high school football and get any offers is really impressive, but he's not going to get them from Alabama when he plays 1 year. So he got a couple small offers. To Indiana State was one of them. He went there, really small school. You got to be incredible from an inside linebacker position to go from Indiana State to being drafted. So he didn't, and he's worked his way up. So it's not like he's just found these right things to get him this opportunity. He's actually extremely talented, and I just think that his ceiling is pretty darn high.
Yeah, if you think about it, Zach, based on like the normal career arc of a football player, he's like just getting to the point now where he would potentially be peaking. We're talking about, when did you start playing football? I think I started in 4th grade.
Right.
Yeah. So, by the time I would have hypothetically made it to the NFL in a very alternate universe,
I believe in you.
I would have been playing football for, 12 years at least.
Right.
He hasn't even been playing that long yet. So that's pretty crazy. And it should, again, I think people should be really excited for this guy. Like, I think he legitimately has, like, why isn't his jersey in the store type of ability if he plays the way he can. And I think it's gone now. Someone pointed out in the comments, he hasn't played alongside Josie yet. He was playing along your favorite word, a mishmash of inside linebackers. They're just throwing anyone out there who they could get a jersey on. And he was maybe, one of the main ones who stood out during that time. A lot of guys kind of went by the wayside. What was that one guy's name with a B? Barrington Wade was playing.
Impressive. Yeah.
Like, they were people, I think, forget how much they were just throwing anything they could at the wall and seeing what sticks. And Jonas Griffith stuck. And that's a really great job by him. But playing alongside Josie is going to do wonders for him. Josie can pretty much tell him what to do on every single play if he needs it.
It's a really good point. And Josie Jewell, he's fully recovered from the pec injury. And the good thing about pec injuries is that's one that typically does not linger at all. So he's 100% now. And I love what you said. That could be a really good duo. And Ryan, when he didn't have Josie Jewell and was playing against a mismatch of people, he was extremely, extremely productive. His first game as a true starter, week 14, he came out and had 5 tackles. Next game, 7. Next game, 13 tackles. The following game, he had 12, and then he ended the season with 6. That is some serious production.
Yeah, I've talked about this every time we mention him, but I just think it's so easy to forget late those games from late in the season when the season's really over and we're all just kind of tuning in because what else would we do? But those games like fall by the wayside in your memory because they're so meaningless. But I just remember tweeting out like, you guys, Jonas Griffith might be really good.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, I think so. Like, he actually might be really good. So I'm super excited to see what he looks like in this defense. And maybe he's so good in their eyes that they're just like, we like him better at this position than we like Baron Browning. So we got to figure out something else to do with Baron Browning.
Man, and that would be just such a compliment to Jonas Griffith. And Ryan, not that it means a whole bunch for what Jonas Griffith did himself, but the opposing teams averaged 14 points in his first three starts. They averaged 14 points against the Broncos defense. Pretty darn good. Now it kind of blew up a little later in the season when they played the Chargers and the Chiefs, but still, when he was on the field, the Broncos were a pretty productive defense.
Yeah, Holy Diver's saying they had a shot at the wild card in the last 3 weeks. I think the last 3 weeks is when, and you always do an article on this, like they started needing some serious help from around.
Yeah, it was to the point of, like a 1% chance 3 weeks out, and then 2 weeks out, it was like 0.01% chance. So there was a chance, but no, not really.
I think we created just like 1 week, like the parlay that the Broncos needed to happen for them to stay in the playoff race. And it was like plus 10,000.
And it didn't win. You're not rich now.
It didn't. I think the biggest problem was the Broncos lost.
Yeah, that was needed, and they lost big time to the Chargers and almost beat the Chiefs, but nope, didn't do that.
Yep, it's exciting. I'm really excited for Jonas Griffith. Anything that Josie Jewell said of note?
Josie, not really. Josie's really good at not saying much, other than Josie's a guy where he doesn't say much, and it can kind of be pretty boring in his press conferences, but you could tell the way he lit up just when talking about Nathaniel Hackett and this coaching staff, and in meetings too, was really my biggest takeaway from him. Was he said in meetings, it's fun. It's fun to be around. You want to be there. And that is the part everyone likes practice when you're going 11 on 11 and it's like a scrimmage. Everyone likes that. But it's the meetings that get so tough and then grinds you in the offseason. And he said they're a blast. And that is going to be something that keeps this team going in week 17 when it's really tough and just keeps them going.
Do you know how hard it is to get NFL players to say meetings are fun?
Yes.
Like,
it doesn't happen.
You and I have spent, I don't know, hundreds of hours in NFL locker rooms, and when they have to go to a meeting, everyone, their head goes down. Like, they, run to their locker, grab something, put their head down, and walk to the meeting. It's never like, hey, we got a meeting, let's go. It's just like, meeting in 5 minutes. Let's go. Like the fact that even Josie, who, if there's someone who's going to be, for lack of a better term, a coach's pet, I think Josie would be on that list. But even him saying like they're fun, not just like the meetings are better, like the meetings are fun. That it means Nathaniel Hackett is doing what he was hired to do, but also just like achieving what I would have previously said was impossible.
Right. And we talked about the cahoots that they have going on, but Josie also said they do some basketball competitions and meetings, and they also do some name quizzes because not all the veterans know the rookies' names, and there's more rookies than just, the 7 or 8 they draft. There's a bunch of undrafted guys, and Nathaniel Hackett just makes it fun and values everyone on the team. So I think that's a cool thing. And I did see someone in the comment section earlier saying that Josie has more to prove on this team than Jonas Griffith, and I disagree with that, and Josie would also disagree with that. He talked about getting that multi-year deal, 2 years, $11 million deal, what it means to him. And he said, yeah, last year, now he only played a game and a half, but last year he felt like there was a little bit too much pressure on his plate because it was a contract year and needing to, do a little too much, even though he played really well. Now he said, now I can just go out and play. And I would disagree with that commenter because the Broncos just paid Josey Jewell $5.5 million guaranteed for this season. So he's very safe.
Yeah, he doesn't really. I don't want to take this as like he's a star or anything. He doesn't really have anything to prove. They know exactly what he is, and they like it, and they want him out there. Like, sure, could he get better? Of course. But in terms of having to prove anything, I think he's proved that he's a legitimate NFL player. He obviously has his limits, and it's like he is who he is, and they like it, and they want it out there. So I don't like. He's not really in the prove it stage anymore. He's in the try to build on what you have stage.
Right. Exactly. I completely agree. And Ryan, really quick, you talked about we all have our limits. Well, we all have our limits in how much we can do with our teeth. That's why you need to go to a dentist, because they'll take care of the things that you can't get right with your teeth over at Green Mountain Dental, where if you schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam, they'll set you up with a free Sonicare toothbrush. They're only a 15-minute drive from downtown Denver, and they are part of our family. They've supported us for a long time, and you guys know supporting our partners is supporting us, and also they're great people. So might as well go to a place where you can talk Colorado sports, might as well go to a place as part of our family, and might as well go to a place where when you go to the dentist, they're just going to give you a free Sonicare toothbrush so you can take care of your teeth the rest of the year when you're not there. So check them out over at Green Mountain Dental. You said that was a stretch?
Yeah, it was a big stretch. Big stretch. Y'all have limitations on what we can do with our teeth?
We do. I can't scrape my teeth like they do at the dentist. I feel like the after that, I would like look at them and they'd have, a bunch of metal scraped all over them.
I recently heard if you want to help dogs get the plaque off their teeth, you give them frozen carrots. It just kind of scrapes it off for them. So you can just try that.
Okay. I'll try frozen carrots instead of my toothbrush for 3 months, and we'll see how it goes.
Let's see how that goes for you. Anyways, let's jump into the comments here. I know we have a super chat right here, so let's start with that one from, I believe, Jason. Bingo. Who says, do edge rushers count as outside linebackers? Do you think the Broncos might run a 2-5 base, which would make sense with Browning's move to edge and the team not caring about inside linebacker that much? I mean, they're going to run their 3-4 base, but yes, edge rushers count as outside linebackers. But I think you're going to see so many different mixes of what they can put out there. And I could absolutely see a scenario where Baron Browning is kind of playing like a star. I don't know. We call it like a star backer. CU had that out there quite a few times. They were using like Davion Taylor, who's on the Eagles now, in that role where it's like, yeah, he's kind of floating around. He might even like line up in the slot over a tight end and come after the passer. There's like a lot of movement you can use with that. But you could see Draymond Jones and DJ Jones be the only two down on some plays, and you could see like Caden Stearns coming in a bunch and taking the place of a linebacker. So honestly the limits don't exist on what kind of formations these guys can run out there, but for the most part I think you're going to see a 3-4 base still.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, and instead of a 2-5-4, it would probably be, if you're only going to have two down linemen, it's probably going to be a 2-3-2-4, 2-3-6, where you're going to have a lot of defensive backs on the field. Just like you said, a Caden Stearns is the guy that's got to see the field.
Yeah, 2-3-6 works great in Madden.
Yes, it does. Especially if one of your guys is Jonas Griffith, or at least a guy with that ability.
Right. Then you you bring in your 95 speed corner who comes into the box all of a sudden. He's running with, slower wide receivers over the middle. It's good stuff.
Oh man. I missed last week's Madden. I was feeling a little under the weather. I can't wait to get back on.
Max Power says, any comment on how Montreal Washington is looking? Well, according to Henry, he was there last night, which might really put a wrench in the gears of our one-on-one talks there.
That's true.
But anything you've heard in terms of how you obviously talked about him catching a long bomb from Russ the other day, which was exciting. That's about it. We talked about that a lot that day.
I've been really impressed with Montrell Washington. I truly thought he was being brought in to be a returner and a returner only. And in if year 3, you get something as a receiver, it's a cherry on top. Ryan, I think we're going to have a package for him as a receiver this year, and not just as a long receiver that stretches the field, as an all-around receiver that's just super, super quick and tough to tackle and brings that mentality of a small guy, but a small guy that's not going to back down from anything. I really think, and I've been really impressed with what I've seen from him in these first 2 OTAs. He has caught my eye more than Nick Bonito, and Greg Dulcich has caught my eye more than any other rookie. Montrell Washington, he's second right there. And then he's also would be in that group right behind him. And then Nick Bonito a little bit. But I mean, that shows you how well Montrell Washington has done. Now, got to add, it's not with pads, especially a small guy. When pads come on, it could kind of wash him out a little bit. But so far, the results on him so far are really good.
Carlos Henderson told us he needed the pads to get going.
No, he didn't.
Didn't help at all.
No.
He just kept dropping passes and running wrong routes. Anyways, Montrell Washington, yeah, man, I'm super excited for him. Although he's on such a short leash for me, and it's not his fault. It's just there's just no need to put the ball at risk ever when you have Russell Wilson.
It's true. It's true. Now, what you hope he does is when the 2012 Broncos played the Baltimore Ravens, and before Raheem Moore let the ball over his head, the Broncos offense wasn't that good. It was Trindon Holiday that had 2 returning touchdowns. Now, did Trindon do that a ton that year? No, he didn't. But just in those moments that you need it, you hope that he can come through. But you're right, Ryan. You can't take the ball out of Russell Wilson's hands.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a risk worth taking when you have a great quarterback.
No.
It is when you don't. And crossing the 50 is a rarity, but we expect the Broncos to cross the 50 on damn near every drive this year. So just take care of the ball. I trust him to do it. I just hope he does.
Yeah, because, I completely agree with you. All right, let's jump into the comments over at thednvr.com. And if you want to leave your comments, become a member with us over at thednvr.com. Click on podcast at the top of the screen. Click on Broncos Podcast, and all of our podcasts will pop up. Click on the top one. That's our most recent one. Scroll to the bottom of that episode. And if you're a member, a comment section will appear. Leave your comment there, and we'll get to it on the next day's pod. And Ryan, let's talk to the people that have done that for today's pod. First one coming in from Denver Rival says, "Hey guys, thanks for the great content as always. DNVR fan, we hope to see you sign up for DNVR Rivals to support the Alzheimer's Association. My question today is what are your bold playoff picks at the moment? Who do you see surprising the league in either conference? What is a playoff team you think will miss the postseason? A fringe team that will go far? Which sports franchise, in or not in football, do you think should move locations? I think the Sacramento Kings should move to Vegas and become the Vegas Knights." Well, you can't do that. I won't ask you about Hall of Famer snubs, but I will say, love you, DNVR fam.
Vegas Knights. Jeez, it's crazy to me how hockey can be so irrelevant to some people. Because it's like an incredible sport to me. Maybe.
And Ryan, do you want to explain why it's irrelevant in this comment?
They already have the Vegas Golden Knights as their hockey team. Anyways, okay. So what's a playoff team from last year that will miss the playoffs this year? Right.
Yep.
The Las Vegas Raiders.
Of course. I love that. I'm going to go the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, wow. I could see it too. What was the next question?
Let's see who's a surprise team that makes the playoffs this year.
I don't think there
are Broncos. Denver Broncos. Surprise from last year, at least.
I guess it would surprise a lot of these national guys who have them still as the worst team in the AFC West.
Seriously. More of I don't think any team in the AFC West would actually be a surprise.
I don't think there's any teams in the AFC that are going to make the playoffs that will be a surprise. The only thing that will be a surprise misses. Maybe the Colts.
Of making it?
Yeah, like they could surprise people by making it. I don't know.
Man, the Jaguars. That would be a surprise. I'd love to see it. How about, I mean, the Ravens aren't a surprise, even though they finished last in their division last year. That's who I'm picking to win that division this year. How about this, though? In the AFC, Ryan, the Patriots or Dolphins? They're teams that were above 500 last year, but I don't think people are picking them to make the playoffs with how competitive the AFC is.
Yeah, the Dolphins aren't making it. The Patriots very well could.
Wow. Okay, I love it. I love the confidence in Mac.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see how. We're gonna find out very quickly how important Josh McDaniels was. Either the Raiders are gonna be good and the Patriots are gonna take a step back, or the Patriots will just be a well-oiled machine and the Raiders will suck like the last time Josh McDaniels coached the team.
Yeah, it's a good point. And one more team in my mind, I would be surprised to see the Saints make the playoffs. I think nationally they're viewed way better than I view them right now.
It's kind of weird how much national love they get.
Yeah, it really. I thought that was all going to be gone after Drew and Sean left.
Me too, 100%. I have no confidence in them.
No, I don't either. Ryan, any team that should change locations?
Okay, so I'm big on Vegas getting more teams.
Okay.
I know
basketball.
I know like the Oakland A's have been tossed around as a team that could go to Vegas. I'm in on that. Obviously, like Oakland A's fans are probably, a lot of them were Oakland Raiders fans, so don't care about them. I think the Kansas City Chiefs should move to the moon.
There we go. I like it. We need to get teams out of Florida. Florida has way too many teams for not giving a damn about sports. Move the Dolphins anywhere that's just going to care about football.
Yes.
From what I've heard about the environment there is terrible.
Move the Dolphins to move any of these teams to like Oklahoma City, where they actually care about football.
Right.
And I guess they do in Florida, but for whatever reason, not in Miami.
Man, it is true. There's not that many teams in the Midwest, like in what I would consider the Midwest of, obviously, Missouri, I guess technically has one. But yeah, throw one of those in places that care about football that don't have anything else better to do than football.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Like, they look at the Huskers as their pro team in any sport. But if you put an NFL team there, I bet they'd show out for them.
Yeah, put Tua there. Oh, I'd love it.
Tua in Nebraska. What other team should move? All hockey teams south of Denver should have to move north of Denver.
So literally, is that? Well, I guess it's a shot at more than just the Coyotes.
Yeah, I don't want to move the Coyotes because I feel bad. They always have to hear about people trying to move them. But like LA,
any Florida teams?
Yeah, LA's got to go to Northern California.
Yeah.
You got to get some teams in North Dakota.
Yeah. There should be two in Minnesota, right? I mean, if we're gonna have two football teams in Los Angeles, a city that doesn't care about sports, might as well have two in a state that is hockey.
I guess. I think two teams in a state is dumb. Like, I wouldn't want that here. Because, like,
right.
Colorado, we had, obviously, DU wins the hockey title. Then the Colorado Eagles made it to the championship round. And then the Avs are in the conference final. So, like, Colorado's probably the hockey capital of the universe. But I don't want another hockey team here.
That's true. It's true. You don't want them split. I guess you could have St. Paul and Minneapolis. They're kind of two different cities, kind of.
I guess
no, you're not for it. I'm not going to sell you.
I don't like two teams in a state ever.
Yeah, then you really don't like California. You really don't like New York, which I think most people don't like those sports cities.
I think the populations are big enough there where it's like if you're from Colorado, you just have pride in Colorado. But I feel like if you're from like Texas, you have pride in the part of Texas you're from. And I guess you have an overarching Texas pride. But if you're like, I don't know, maybe you're from San Antonio, like you're not like big Dallas guy. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I don't think you are. I agree.
Although I'm sure a bunch of them are Cowboys fans still, but
Yeah, since there is no, I mean, there was talk of the Raiders before they moved to Las Vegas going to San Antonio. Maybe that's a place that you could put another football team.
Again, same state. There's already 2 there.
I would rather have San Antonio have a team than any in Florida.
I would rather have all of these flyover states have teams.
Yeah.
I think the NFL could absolutely. I think every state could support an NFL team, except for Rhode Island, which isn't even a real place.
I agree. I would agree. So, you a fan of Alaska? That would almost be
No.
like a similar conversation as putting a team out in London.
Yeah, dude, give me the Anchorage Oilers.
Oh, I like it. I like it. What's
I
Hawaii
mean,
then?
Man, I don't know.
Man, Hawaii just does not seem like a football place, though. It's too nice.
Yeah, they do have like a decent college fan base. But yeah, it is true. Like, there's way too much to do there, and everyone's spread out across the islands.
It's true.
And that might, I mean, everyone's really spread out in Alaska, so that might cause a problem too. Although I assume Anchorage could probably fill a football stadium.
As long as everyone in the city attends.
Yeah, exactly. You get it when you buy a house there, they just give you season tickets.
Right. There you go. Hey, if property tax includes that, I'm down.
Yeah, there you go. I'm sure everyone will be on board with paying extra on their taxes for that.
Seriously.
I
And
actually, real quick, when I was in college, CU wasn't doing this. I think they started doing it now, but they just included season tickets to football and basketball in the student fees at ASU. And so, like, yeah, it kind of sucks for the people who don't care, but for the people who do care, they get it. They don't have to pay anything extra, or pay at least foot the whole bill for their tickets. And then every student has season tickets, which makes it, more accessible for them to go to the games, which I thought was great.
Oh man, that's how it absolutely should be, and just an incentive to fill those stadiums too, especially down in Arizona where they need help getting fans in the stands.
Yes, they do. All right, last one.
Coming in from Fangio Schmangio says, my boys, forgive my ignorance, but please tell me the origin story of playing All the Small Things at Avs games. Blink-182 is my favorite band ever, and seeing the crowd sing it out this playoff series is amazing. You boys keep my daily bearable. Please don't ever stop. I need you more than coffee. Saddle up.
Wow.
I love you, Fangio.
Anything more than coffee. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's the best part about this is it happened the best way that things can happen, which is completely organically.
Yeah.
The DJ at the Avs game just played it one time, and obviously the DJ has to turn the music off at a certain time when the action starts, and it just happened that the action started right around when they dropped the puck, and he had to turn it off, and that was right around the chorus. Everyone just kept singing, and it was electric. And that just became a tradition. Like, that's how things should be, rather than like the Broncos trying to invent a fight song a couple of years ago, which literally no one could even tell you one word from today because it lasted 2 years and then got thrown in the bin. But
as it should have.
But yeah, I just love when stuff happens organically like that, and then now everyone's stealing it, which is kind of lame. But yeah, that's our thing.
Like other sports teams?
Yeah, other hockey teams.
No way. The same song?
Same song, yeah.
Oh, that is so lame. And this Avs series, or this Avs playoffs with it specifically, has really got me thinking the Broncos need this to happen. But just like you said, Ryan, organically, and it's got to be a song that everyone knows, that everyone loves, that's a sing-along sort of song like that, but also not cheesy. The Broncos need one of these because it is so cool that the Avs have this. And now every time I hear this song, I instantly think of the Avs.
Yeah, and like Wisconsin has Jump Around.
Yep, and that's really cool.
Memphis has Whoop That Trick, which it's never lost on me, the comedy that we have all the small things and they have Whoop That Trick.
That is incredible.
But yeah, I mean, I think those types of things make the experience as a fan so much better. The Broncos could do like Rocky Mountain High. I don't know,
right.
Just anything, just something that everyone can get behind. Obviously, like the Red Sox have Sweet Caroline. It goes on and on and on and on. But,
it's time. It's time for the Broncos to do that.
So I think the strategy is just like play a bunch of songs and then figure out whichever ones.
right. To figure out which people are or who's going to sing the songs.
Yeah, and I guess the toughest part about this is like Avs fans and Blink-182 is like so easy. It's so obvious, like
Right,
hockey people love the 90s and like music from that time, and like obviously basketball fans are skew more towards hip hop. With football, it's everyone. So it's kind of hard to find something that like everyone in the stadium likes, because it's just you're getting an entire amalgamation of the city.
Then just find a really popular song and roll with it. As long as everyone's into it, that's the biggest thing. Because no one was into the Broncos theme song. Like even if it was really bad and cheesy, but everyone was into it, and after every touchdown, everyone's just singing it, it would have been okay. It would have been good. But no one cared.
Probably one of the most fun things about going to the game is the incomplete. Like that's ours,
Yeah.
Like
No
one's ever even tried to steal that one, which is kind of crazy. And then the other one was Rock and Roll Part 2, but that guy got canceled into oblivion for very good reason. And now we don't get to enjoy that anymore, I guess.
No, we don't get good things. We don't get fun songs. We don't get fun moments. And we haven't had fun moments in the stadium in so long. Thankfully, at least from a football perspective, that's going to change.
Do they not have a song that they play after every touchdown? I mean, I know that those have been so rare in recent years that it'd be hard to remember them, but
is it the da-da-da-da-da-da, hey?
That's the song.
That's Rock and Roll Part 2?
I think so.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh,
yeah.
Well then, I guess my memory is from too long ago. So I don't think so then.
2014 or something. I don't think they have a, like even the Avs have the hey, hey, hey thing after every goal. Like, it's just something that you're like building. It's essentially just building a brand, right? You're attaching things to feelings and trying to, attach that to people's memories.
I mean, just look at Russell Wilson and Let's Ride. It's not necessarily like the most creative thing or the best thing ever, but man, he's sticking with it, and it's everywhere.
Dude, I hate to end on this note, but did you see the video they put out yesterday of him like testing out different ways of saying it? How can they do my guy
really
like that?
Bad.
How can
really
they do
bad?
Him like
In fact, Ryan, it was so bad and blew up so much that Pat McAfee show was destroying them for it today, and they were saying the exact same things. How are you gonna do Russ dirty like that?
Why you gotta do this to him? Because like he's already so corny. We don't need to film him doing corny things and then post it out. He'll do that on his own.
Right. right.
But it's already so like, even like, I don't know, you and I look into things probably a little deeper than everyone, and like we can see how manufactured the Let's Ride thing is. And that made it seem 10 times more manufactured. And it was not electric at all. It was like so dull and boring. And he was kind of struggling with the entire concept of it. And I saw like some really big personalities tweeting out like, wow, I'm really fired up after watching this. And I was like, damn it, man. How did you guys do this to him?
Oh, they did him so dirty. And then the top comment. So I went there this morning to see if it was still there. And sure enough, it's still there. And the top comment is not a good one. It's Melvin Gordon. 5 laughing, crying emojis on it, and has 600 likes.
Yeah, it's probably extra funny from your couch. I just the slogan itself like is actually good. It makes sense. It's a double meaning there. Let's ride. It's a Bronco, a horse. Like it's all good. I'm in on the slogan. Like it looks good when it's printed. It's just. We can't do that to him. That's not right.
Man, the comment section's tough. I gotta get out of this comment section now. Oh man.
Oh, it's brutal. So yeah, Broncos, please. We gotta
do your guys some favors.
Yes, take care of Russ, man. You can't leave him out to the wolves like that, although I'm sure he really does not care.
No, I'm sure not.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, and speaking of that, we'll circle this all back. The guys that were chopping it up together yesterday when they were doing those really cheesy hype videos, it was Russ and it was Jerry, and Russ posted that on his account. He didn't post the Let's Ride thing. He posted Jerry.
That's like the thing, like the one-on-one, they go do like a little thing, right? That was, they were recording it, and then afterwards they do the dinner.
Right.
They never actually eat the food.
And I don't think they eat at those games either. So
that's true. I try to not eat at games, but sometimes I forget, and then you get like two of those tall boys in, and you're in trouble. So then you got to get the tenders. Ballerina tenders, actually fire.
Oh man, that's huge, and especially when you're sitting in a suite. Oh, you got to go for the food then.
Yep, absolutely. All right, is that it? Is that all we got?
That's it. Covered it.
All right, this was good. This was fun. A classic off-season pod. Thank you guys for keeping it with us here. A big crowd watching the whole time. Hit us with a thumbs up on your way out, and we will be back with you on Monday. We'll see you guys later.